Hello and welcome to the Sterling Podcast. I'm Julia Williams, your host. And today we're going to be talking about the world of private medical insurance and why we need it. And I am delighted today to be joined by Glen McCulloch from TR Health. So, Glen, how are you and welcome?
Very well, thank you. Thank you for having me on the podcast.
You're welcome. So, Glen, tell us a little bit about, what is private medical insurance and more importantly, what's your role?
Yeah, so for those who are seeing my face for the first time today, my name's Glen McCulloch. I'm an account manager with TR Health Limited. TR Health are an appointed representative of the WPA Healthcare Practice PLC. I've got to get that put in for compliance purposes. In short, we are the people on the ground that help educate and implement on WPA policies. What attracted me to the world of insurance? I actually enjoy it. I find it really, really fascinating. I'm not ashamed to say that out loud either. My job is really simple. Don't sell expensive policies, just sell policies that work for people within our local communities. So I really enjoy getting to know my clients and making sure that they check out with a policy that works for them when they need it.
You must talk to so many people. So, what are the sort of concerns or questions that people might ask you?
A lot of people are concerned with NHS waiting times. So you would take out private medical insurance to essentially mitigate the waiting times with NHS. So despite common misconceptions, we're not here to take over the NHS. All we're doing is giving you access to prompt diagnosis and treatment on your terms, and your PMI policy can go a long way towards that.
I see. And for some, like I've heard that, when you take out private medical insurance, you get other benefits, for instance, cash benefits. What's that?
Oh, I absolutely love cash benefits. So cash benefits, as the name suggests, is just money back in your pocket, and it's money back for routine healthcare you may already be receiving, or if you're not, it's a way to be proactive with your healthcare in the year ahead. So the cash extras on an individual and family policy, for example, you can actually claim money back for things such as eye tests, glasses, contact lenses, general dentistry, so your checkups, hygienist appointments, fillings, dentures, crowns, got money back towards those sort of things. A health screen, a really, really good benefit to have on a PMI policy. Now, a health screen is a top-to-toe MOT. We all go and get our cars checked every year.
Yeah.
Why do we not have the same approach to ourselves and our families? Your PMI policy can cover money towards those as well as. Just on the health screen, it's a really, really good benefit to have in place, particularly in your first year of having a PMI policy. It's going to do one of two things. It's either going to give you peace of mind that you're okay, in which case you don't need to worry about anything, or it's going to pick something up, and it's going to pick something up that you wouldn't have picked up had you not gone for that health screen in the first place. So it's definitely worth considering building into the policy just to get that peace of mind or other. And obviously, if it is found to be something picked up on the health screen, you've got cover in place to help you sort of move forward and get seen quickly.
How does that work? I mean, for instance, you mentioned the fact that we could get money back, but how does that work? Do people have to wait a long time to get it back? Do you have to pay for it? How does that work?
Yeah, so it's reimbursing expenditure. So essentially, you go to the dentist, you have your checkup, they'll give you an invoice, you'll pay for it there and then. And the claims process is really, really simple. You pop the receipt straight on the WPA app, and within 7 days, it's paid back into your personal account. So as long as it meets the criteria, which it would, because it's an invoice with your name on it, and obviously relating to the benefit that you put in the claiming for, it gets reimbursed within 7 days.
Well, that's amazing, and so quickly as well. It seems really simple. That's great. What are the other benefits? Are there lesser known benefits that's not, commonly well known to other people?
Yeah, I put a video out on this topic a few weeks back, actually. A underutilized benefit on a WPA policy is the 24/7 in the moment support helpline. So I'm quite open about my struggles in the past. I've physically used this service a few years back. So I used to work for a very progressive accountancy practice. I had life worries on my shoulders. I was a new parent at the time. I was dealing with management issues, client issues, you name it. I had it going on up top. And I actually sat in the car park one morning and I said, you know what? I'm really struggling with this today. I can't do it. I picked up the phone to this 24/7 in the moment helpline, and thank God I did, because if I didn't, I probably wouldn't have this conversation today with yourself.
Wow.
They talked me through it, spent the best part of an hour just talking through life. And I think whilst you've got the nice to haves with the PMI policy, this is a very much undervalued and underutilized service. It's available. You can use this as much as you need to. So if you need confidential support at any time of day, you've got this 24/7 in the moment helpline. And I can speak from experience as to how valuable that is from, personal experience.
Just listening to you talk, it feels really heartfelt, to be honest with you, and it's actually gives that credibility behind it, that you've actually used the service, experience, and felt the value. And the fact that you can use the service at any point is incredibly useful to people, especially now in the current times where there's a lot of pressure, there's a lot of stress, and we've got more aware of mental health now as well. So
Absolutely, yeah.
yeah. And do you feel that this sort of service, the remote GP kind of service tool, do you feel like this is the future?
Oh, absolutely. The remote GP is a game changer for benefit. If you can't tell by the twang, I live in Dudley, by choice as well. And the GPs by me are absolutely ridiculous. You cannot get an appointment unless you're on the phone at 8 a.m. on a Monday morning. Now, I know I'm not the only person in the UK that has to say that. Fortunately, I have remote GP as part of my WPA policy. What that gives me is access to a GP, often same day. So if I asked you, Julia, can you book an appointment this afternoon at your GP? What would you tell me?
No chance. Absolutely no chance.
No chance at all. Most people are in that same category. They just cannot get an appointment unless they're, in the 8 a.m. Monday morning scramble. So I can go on the WPA app, rolling 3-day period, today, tomorrow, the next day, including weekends and bank holidays. I can pick a time of my choosing between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m, video or phone call, male or female GP, depends on what it is and how sensitive you are, and they call you at a really specific time in the day. What they can do is give you prescriptions or refer you to a specialist if needs be. So even if you just wanted a second opinion from your normal GP, or you just want some peace of mind on the day, you can absolutely use the remote GP service.
I mean, that seems absolutely incredible, bearing in mind how difficult it is anyway to book an appointment to see your GP. That's absolutely, I think people pay their weight in gold for that service straight away. That's fantastic, really. And do you find that a lot of people that are using private medical insurance are using this service now?
A good portion do use the service, and an interesting sort of statistic. We've been doing this for nearly 2 years now, and I'm going through the first full cycle of sort of renewals. So I'm having the conversations with customers that we signed up last year that had no intention of ever using their PMI policy, but unfortunately, some of them have had to use it in the last 12 months. Now, fortunately, they've got a PMI policy in place that worked for them. So the conversations I'm having are, thank goodness we took action when we did, because had we left it a few months, we wouldn't have been covered for the things that we needed to be covered for. So my advice there, it's not a sales tactic in any which way, shape or form, is to get cover as soon as physically possible. You don't know what's around the corner. You don't know when you'll need it. At some point in your life, you will need medical attention. It's up to you whether you rely on the NHS or whether you've got that option in your back pocket to go private.
Mm. And I think the key word there is option, isn't it? That's it's giving you the freedom of choice, which is actually one of the key benefits or selling points of having private medical insurance. But for the benefit of our listeners, what does that actually mean? The freedom of choice.
Yeah, so freedom of choice, it's one of WPA's main unique selling points. So when it comes to making a claim, the first question you're asked is, where do you want to go? Who do you want to be seen by? So WPA aren't an insurance company where we tell you exactly where you're going to go, unlike our competitors. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but from a commercial point of view, other insurers like to keep you local for obvious reasons. Have the analogy, if I said to you, you need brain surgery, okay? Do you want us to tell you where you're going, or do you want to help make an informed decision on the care that you receive? You're probably going to want the best people in the country. That's absolutely fine under your WPA policy. So complete freedom of choice. You decide who, you decide where, and you decide when.
I suppose if you're going through something quite traumatic as well, at least you've got that control over who you want and who you feel comfortable with as well. So
Yeah, and it's not an easy decision to make either. Like,
Mm.
we live and breathe within the medical industry. Not everyone's in the same boat that we are. So you may need surgery and you're not quite sure where to start. Now, I can say with confidence that WPA, the team at head office, are world class in how they triage claims. So once they meet the criteria, their claim can be opened. You're then you have your hand held throughout the whole process. We also have a system in place that helps you make an informed decision. So, for argument's sake, you could go for a back specialist in Birmingham, and what it's going to give you is a list of GPs and specialists who can assist you with this particular issue, give you their ratings, give you their contact details, further confidence that the treatment you're receiving is top tier.
Yeah. And let's, moving on now in terms of, we hear lots of quotes or myths, and let's just bust some of those. So some people might be thinking, oh, that's all very great. You get a remote GP, you can, get cash back on the services or that you've already used. It's bound to be expensive. I mean, is it expensive? I mean, what's your answer to that?
So the long and short of it, it's insurance. This is a policy you're going to have in place that hopefully you never need. So there's a whole cost versus price argument that you could really dig into if you wanted to. But to answer the question direct, it doesn't have to be expensive. It might shock the people listening to this. My personal policy with WPA is not expensive. It can be. I could have an all singing or dancing policy, but for mine and my family's circumstances, we don't need all of the bells and whistles. We're covered for things such as cancer care, see a specialist 2 or 3 times a year if needs be, any in-hospital treatments that we may need, as well as those cash extras. And by the time we've claimed our cash extras, our policy is next to nothing for the year, and we're still covered quite adequately. So my job as an advisor is to help people check out of a policy like mine. I'm interested in making sure that if you need to claim on your policy, you absolutely can. There is no point building the bells and whistles if you can't claim for those specific benefits, because all you're doing is putting money into the system that you can't benefit from.
Yeah.
So WPA are a not-for-profit organisation. We charge what we need to charge, and the pricing structure is really, really fair on that regard. And WPA pay out as well.
And what do you say to those people that say, "Oh, I've got it, so I've got to use everything"? Is that the case?
Not at all. So again, another misconception is that if I have medical insurance, I have to use it. So another benefit on a WPA policy is that you actually get some cash back for using the NHS. So if, for argument's sake, you need an MRI scan and they can see you within the space of a week, that's fantastic. You're getting seen really quickly. You don't need to claim on your policy, and you actually benefit from an NHS cashback payment. If they say that MRI scan is going to be months away, or they're not quite sure how quickly they can see you, well, then you've got the option: do I wait and claim some money back on the NHS, or do I claim on the policy and get access to prompt diagnosis and treatment? So going back to your point earlier, it's just about giving you freedom of choice. You decide who, where, and when.
Yeah. And, again, going back to another misconception is they say, well, it's just for the wealthy. From what you're saying, it seems like everyone can benefit, no matter, what you're earning and where you are in life. Is that true?
Yeah. So, like I say, it's insurance. The more you add in, the more it's going to cost. My job is not to sell expensive policies. As I keep saying, I say it religiously, it's all about checking out a policy that will just work. You can really strip it all the way back. And when we talk about a core policy, you're still covered for all of the in-hospital treatments. Okay. You can add the optional extras in terms of outpatient benefits, but that might not be it might not be the right circumstance for you to check out with, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So for me, we just have to know the likelihood of you claiming on your policy. Is it high or low? Hopefully you never need to use it, but what will you actually use on the policy? Is it the safety net, or is it just for the serious issues? It's just for the serious issues. We can strip back the cover. You probably don't need a lot of the bells and whistles.
Yeah. And in terms of the signing up process for this, I hate form filling. And when you think about health and filling in forms, I mean, what's the process? Is it hard, difficult? Is it complicated? How do you go about signing up if I wanted to?
So I support the whole process from start to finish. So you'll sit a quote meeting with myself, we'll build the cover to suit, then I'll leave you to it in terms of making that decision. If you're happy to proceed, we'll book another call in or another meeting in to physically go through the paperwork. Depending on the underwriting types, and there are two types of underwriting, which we'll get into, will depend on how long you need to fill the paperwork in. If it's a full medical underwriting process, that takes a little bit longer, anything up to an hour tops. But we'll make sure that everything's disclosed that needs to be, so you've got complete clarity over the cover that you've built.
Of course.
Or on moratorium underwriting, it takes 10 minutes because we don't ask any medical questions with those applications. But again, I support the whole process. And then once we're in, make sure you get set up on the app and you're sort of well on your way.
Brilliant. And what would you say to those people that say, well, I've been told I can get it through work? And then also, the flip side is, what would you say to the business owners who think, oh, I could give this as a benefit?
Yeah, so business cover is a bit of a minefield. You'll find with most organisations when they're offering medical insurance, it fits one of two categories. It's either a tick box exercise that they're offering something, in which case the employers met their obligations to offer something. The employees might not get the full translation. It's often, oh, you've got private medical insurance, but then the employees don't quite know how much they can and can't claim for. They might be going about life thinking they've got a really good policy in place, but it hasn't been explained to them. So part of our jobs is to go into the companies and fully explain the individual benefits that are set for the employees. It's really, really important. And on the flip side of that, you've got some companies that do go all in for their employees. They give them all of the bells and whistles. It's entirely up to them how they build their policies. For us, we have to make sure every member that comes through us understands their individual benefits.
So if you're a business owner then and you wanted the all singing, all dancing for your staff, are you saying that you would talk to them, then talk to the individual people that are part of the staff?
Absolutely, yeah. So we primarily deal with the business owner to put a policy in place. Once it's then rolled out to the staff, it may open up a conversation for the staff members to say, actually, I quite like these benefits, but I wonder what it would look like to have a little bit more. And then we can support the business owners to say, look, here's the budget you've got for the team members. This particular member of staff is asking for a little bit more. We can do it, and they can pay the difference through salary sacrifice, as an example, or the business owner can put them on a different category. So for us, it's about helping businesses create a good culture within their business when it comes to looking after their staff.
Yeah, and culture is so important, because if you are looking after your staff, they're more likely to stay, aren't they? So, yeah.
Absolutely. It's a fantastic retention tool. So we say that when we're out networking, sort of attracting, rewarding and retaining good staff in the workplace.
Yeah, and it's becoming more and more important these days for people anyway, work-life balance, happiness at work and all of that.
Yeah.
We've talked a lot about private medical insurance, but if there's one thing that you could share about it that you wish that more people knew about what you do, what would it be?
I think it's just an education process. I bang the drum a lot when it comes to medical insurance. People will need it at some point in their lives. We get a lot of people that come to us with pre-existing conditions. I had a lady in her 40s a couple of weeks back that came to us and said, I really need a new hip. Will the policy cover it? Unfortunately not, because it's a pre-existing condition. Now, had she had her cover in place even a few months before that diagnosis, that would have been covered. Now, unfortunately, this lady has to pay £16,500 personally for a new hip. She's in her 40s. She can't afford not to. So, fortunately for her, she's got the funds to do it. If I asked you 16,500, would you rather put that towards a hip or a holiday? You'd probably say a holiday.
Definitely.
And I can assure you the insurance premiums are nowhere near that when it comes to it.
Wow.
So my advice there is simply have a conversation. Let's look at pre-existing conditions. Let's build a policy that will work for you in the event of needing it, and sort of take it from there.
And it does all start with a conversation anyway, doesn't it? Wow, I bet she wished she did use you earlier. Never mind. Lastly, the last little bit I want to say then really is, what's the top bit of advice that you could give to anyone that maybe they've listened to what you've said, it's resonated? What advice would you give them if they're seeking private medical insurance?
If you're looking at options, although we only advise on WPA's products, we do have a solid understanding of the marketplace. So if you've got quotes from existing providers, we can review against it and give you a fair sort of analysis of cover you've been quoted versus cover that we can quote as well. There are some cases where I'll say you've got a decent option in front of you, go ahead with that. Or it may be that they have existing cover in place and switching across to WPA may result in exclusions based on pre-existing conditions again. So the advice is just to go through a human being. And I think it's clear we are human beings. We really care about our community here. If you are looking at it for the first time, don't just go online and click a few buttons, because there's a good chance you'll check out a policy that won't work for you in the event of. Talk to someone like myself, Graham and Luke, locally. We are the people that can help you put a policy in place that will work for you in the event of needing it.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much, Glenn. It's been a real pleasure and an insight actually talking to you about this topic, because it's so relevant in today's life, particularly with the queues that we've already established for the NHS, and the fact that there is so many benefits of getting private medical insurance. Our listeners, I hope that you feel more informed today about this particular topic. And if you want to find out more about TR Health, then details will be below the podcast, and you can reach out to Glenn and the rest of the team, and just say thank you very much, and we will talk soon. Thank you.
Thank you.